Welcome everyone to another live talk. We talk with 5 panels today. We're giving you a surprise, another therapy session. Luke, Yadirenko, the regulars, thank you for being here. We have two that haven't been for a while, but always pleasure to have you guys. Ziggy, Damien, good to have you guys. Thank you for being here. Are you guys ready to talk about Ajax? Yeah? Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Always.
Okay, perfect. Um, for all the viewers, thank you for being here. We're gonna have our therapy session, as I said. We have some subjects to discuss, especially that Marijn Beuker's interview was interesting. So I'm gonna dive in immediately. And if you have any questions, please let us know. We will discuss it, of course. Uh, Good evening, of course, Lawrence, because I already see the first comment. Good evening. All good. So yeah, let's get started, guys. We had Marijn Beuker's interview um, just this week released with VE, and actually there were some very good points that came out of it, which got me a lot excited. I know there was a Dutch article, so I'm just gonna sum up some key things that were in the article, and then we can discuss it. Okay. So the key points of Beuker's interview: he wants to combine a mix of Cruyff philosophy and Van Gaal philosophy. He wants everyone at Ajax to have the same vision, philosophy, all departments understanding what they have to do. They also broke up the technical director into two different positions. So one to cover and audit the process within Ajax from the under 8 till the first team, and the second one is more for the deal maker, the one that deals with the agents and brings in the players they want, etc., and that would be discussed as a team. Moreover, the youth academy, they want to change a lot of things there. um, for example, they want to change one field uh, and make smaller fields with gravel, sand. What was more? Gravel, sand,
Cobbles.
cobbles. Yeah, exactly. And one more. And I think within the new building of the
Tarmac.
Toekomst, they want also a futsal, uh, yeah, indoor soccer kind of field. And if I'm missing something, let me know. But Lirenko, let me start with you, man. What did you think of the article? What did you think of his strategy, his philosophy, and everything he said?
Yeah, to me, I don't know if I read everything correctly, but to me, it was a whole lot of words for saying not so much. To be to be quite honest, it was
What do you mean with that?
yeah, it was saying something without really delivering a vision. The vision was that you have to steer the ship in the right direction or something like that. That's not a vision to me. It's I didn't get anything what they really wanted, what they're really gonna do. At one field with four different turfs is not bringing back street soccer. For instance, in the past, the youth were allowed to play on the street. Now it doesn't happen that often anymore in life because there are all courts everywhere. But still, the Ajax players weren't ever allowed to play outside of Ajax because of injury prone and anxiety, something like that. And now they're going to bring it back in a force four way underground court. How does that help? I don't see it.
Okay.
Um,
But look, he does say, for instance, that he wants to introduce brain training, cognitive training, to speed up the spell, the game IQ. He wants to train them more technically to be master of your space on the pitch and understanding the game better. Um, but also how to behave as a professional, how to behave on and off the field, how to deal with setbacks, etc. Um, I mean,
the,
it's Ajax. It's a big club. He has a lot of ideas. I think he's just talking about it in
the,
general.
the,
But none
the,
of what he said made sense to you.
Yeah, sure. The thing I liked was the difference between TDs in clubs nowadays. He explained how it's horizontal, where they're divided into the first team and the lower teams, and Ajax will do it in a vertical way with a deal maker, as you mentioned, and one who has the overall direction in check, which I think is a sensible thing. I think that's more sensible than the other way around to me, because making deals is really something, really a specialism. Um, and maintaining the how do you say it, the overall vision or the overall uh, um, line within the first team, within the young Ajax, within the youth, should be at one person or at least one team,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So you get the same interactions or the same decisions in the end. So that makes a lot of sense, and that's good. But all in all, about he talked about vision. He talked about the Ajax gameplay. The gameplay is not only decisive with smart players. There's much to it, more to it to me, to be honest. And I didn't get that kind of vision from the interview, to be honest.
Okay. I do want to explain just what he meant with that. Look, we're Ajax. We have a specific budget. Doesn't mean we can compete with the cities and the Arsenals and the Real Madrids of this world. So our budget is always going to be different. And he's explaining in what way Ajax can still be dominant in the technical aspect and being a smart player, understanding the game, game IQ, etc. And in both those, that's something, the cognitive training, something that Ajax is not doing at the moment. So he does have an idea of what kind of players he wants to bring. Ziggy, what's your
Well,
thoughts?
yeah. So what I've seen, I think it was at the end of the interview, somewhere near the end, where he said that they already have been looking at what key players we have, what prospects we have. That was for me the most interesting part because this season we didn't have this at all. So he already have a clear vision alongside with Alex Cruz and the other board members. I mean the people involved, Kelvin De Lang, Alex Cruz. So what I liked about that part is that they already been looking at what they want for next season. So they already got a clear vision. Yeah, Renko said they didn't really have a vision, but in this point, I think they do have a vision what they want for next season. Um, what I also liked about the interview is that you can really see that they work together, togetherness. That's what we've been missing last season because that's what Mislintat, for example, hasn't been doing. And this season, you can see that he and Alex Cruz, for example, they are really compatible to each other in
Yeah.
ways of thinking, ways of what they want for next season. And also, of course, it's really important because that's number one priority, I think. So, and he was also talking about short priorities to get a fit selection for next season and to get to compete again. He also said in previous interviews that what Alex Cruz said, for example, is that being champions next season is something he don't expect. He doesn't expect it, but I do think that we are still Ajax and we still need to compete for at least top three next season.
So at least
So
challenge, right?
at least challenge indeed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is the way forward. And um, in all honesty, whatever they put on paper or whatever they say on interviews, I don't really look at it that much anymore because we've been disappointed for the last two seasons. So let's be honest, all we want to see is action. That's what we want next season. And in general, I just looking forward for the new season to get started and whatever it's been put on paper. I'm honest. I think I'm positive about his Marijn Beuker because if you look at his track record, what you just mentioned about his DNA and the database he built it himself, I'm quite positive about things he did and also with the youth of AZ because he's been also previously experienced with things in terms of youth. So I think we really got a set thing coming up for next season. I'm really wondering what will happen.
Damien, I'm gonna go to you. Give it to me. What did you?
Yeah.
What did you
Well,
think?
I mean, I read the interview, and it's a lot of it is, I agree with Yadarenko. A lot of it is platitudes. He's telling a story. It's marketing, that kind of thing. We all know Ajax, so there's some very positive things that are said in there. And if it turns out, great. But first of all, will he have the mandate to do the things that he wants to do? Possibly, because what you see is not only is it there a vertical look at the way that players are signed and the way they're integrated, but also there's a complete AZ Alkmaar integration in the club, which will probably happen with Pascal Janssen becoming the manager. I mean, they might go for Graham Potter, but I've been saying for quite a while that Janssen was going to be the manager, and of course, it's just and if you look at AZ have been a lot like Ajax in the sense that they were competing in a league below everybody else, but look at the players that they've produced. Really, really good players, really surprising. They've gone out into the market and they've done it. The question is, can he do it at a higher level with Ajax? Because AZ are selling players to other people, to Ajax and other people. So I think he can achieve a lot of what he says, but I think the hardest thing at Ajax is getting everybody's nose in the same line. They can't even agree on the role of Alex Cruz. They can't agree on anything. So for me, I worry about mandate, and I worry about the role, his role, and how that fits. But I do think it's probably the best chance they'll ever have. Because at the time when Cruyff came in, the club was broken. It was a real big problem. And now it's a very similar situation. I trust his words, but I agree. Saying you're going to change the surface in the... it's not how football works. These young players who were signed, they've got agents at like 8, 9 years old. They're protected. Ajax are spending just as much money trying to recruit 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds with their parents than they are 15, 16-year-olds. So anything that's done at that level is not going to bear fruit for quite a while. I think he mentions mentality, which was one thing that really pleased me. Ajax have had some very, very good players, but the mentality's been wrong. And you can go way back, Promes. There's a whole line of them. Great footballers on the pitch, but off the pitch, it's been a disaster. So if you're going to talk about bringing players in with the right mentality, I totally agree with that. Because, there seems to be a self-destruct button with some players at Ajax, and we need to really filter that out. And I think the last point that he made was about the need to give the right pressure at the right time. And I think that's really important. You can see a lot of the players are coming through really coddled. They're not. I think it's been a long time since Ajax have had a player come through who can really get involved and get amongst it. And finally, the comment he made about Rijkoff and Henderson, that pleases me. Henderson coming in, look, he hasn't played for a while. He was never going to be that great this season. Next season's going to be the big season for Henderson to kind of lead the team. But if you're going to get a really good mix of experience with youth and build on that, I think already those two signings are a signal. I think it's mostly positive. I think there was very, very few negatives to put in there. But I do think, I do think that if he's going to be allowed to sign the players that he wants, that's going to be the difference. And we discussed before we came on air about the Dutch squad and the championships coming up. If some of the players that we don't want have really good tournaments, we're going to get the price we need from them, and we can move them on, get the wages off the wage bill, and then spend that money wisely on youth and talent. So I think it's
Damien, when you speak about selling certain players, which players are you talking about?
Well, if we could get rid of anybody that Mislintat signed, apart from Glinson, and that's about it. And I think we might have sacrificed Brobbey. I don't want to. Like, nobody wants Brobbey, but if Berghuis can go, Bergwijn can go. Man United have put their whole squad up for sale. Ajax should do the same thing. They should get about 5 or 6 players, keep them, and the rest of them gone.
Yeah, but then you're not going really in line with what he said, because he was mentioning key players as well within his interview. So if you're going to sell Brobbey, sell Berghuis, and sell Bergwijn, I mean, who does he see as the key players right then? Hato, maybe? And who else?
Yeah, I think he sees Hato, Wrench, maybe Brobbey, but I don't think he sees Bergwijn and Berghuis as key players. I think they have to move on.
And Brobbey is definitely a key player right now, no?
He's a key player, but if Brobbey has a great tournament, if he goes to if he's not injured or if he goes, he has a great tournament. Someone like Spurs look at him, 70 million. Ajax have to sell him because we need to put to test. Like, can they? If you look at the players that were signed at AZ, Pele, the other guy, the one who went to Brighton. I can't remember his name.
Veldman.
No, from AZ. They signed quite a few players. Is it Pavlidis or something? Or the
No.
They've got an eye for a striker, and that's what we need. If we can, I think I think all the young players at the club are good, apart from Taylor. I think he's gone on too much. But my opinion, if we can get some of these crap off the books that Mislintat signed and get rid of some of the more expensive players, I think we start again next season and we rebuild again. We won't win the league. I think it's going to be 1 or 2 years in the wilderness. But as long as we compete.
And you don't think that any of the Mislintat signings could look different or better under a different coach?
I haven't seen anything.
Ramai.
Clinton, Ramai, yeah, Ramai, yeah. I really Tahirovic. I don't like. No, I really. Sorry,
Damien Christian is responding to you. Was it Jahanbaks?
Jahanbaks, yes, he's right. Yeah, that was the guy I was talking about. I mean, they pulled him from nowhere. It shows you the kind of AZ have done some really small business, really smart business over the years. If that's what we're bringing in, then I think it can be quite positive. I think Akpom has been a good signing. Look at the minutes he's had with the goals that he scored, with the service that he's got. I don't think the Mislintat signings were all bad. A broken clock is still right 2 times a day. But if I sign 20 players, 3 of them might be all right as well. True. But who do you think, like from the Mislintat signings, who would you keep?
I will come to that, but I'm a host, so I'm just gonna leave it for now. I'm gonna
yes,
give Luke, I'm gonna give Luke the floor. Of course, your opinion. And I just want to add to this, because if I hear Jadirenko and Damien, they're not that excited about the interview. Actually, I was kind of very happy with certain aspects of that, especially what they're going to do with the youth. But maybe I'm the only one. Go ahead, Luke.
What are they going to do with the youth?
Well, they're going to change it. They're going to change the way they train, the way they're going to focus more on technical aspects, more on the street football. I mean, if we look at players from back then in '95, or Edgar Davids or Seedorf, these kids were playing on the street. But they had such a technical baggage, Jadirenko, coming from the youth already.
Before you give the stage to Luke, come on. They gave away Amsterdam to AZ, basically. So I would have loved if they said, "Oh, we're going to reclaim Amsterdam. We're going to focus on youth in Amsterdam, and then we're going to focus on youth in North Holland, and then we're going to focus on youth in the Netherlands."
Yeah, but I'm not talking
I would
about
understand.
scouting,
I would consider a vision.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about specifically how the scouting will be. I'm talking about how they will train these players in becoming a better version of themselves when they have to challenge for their spot in Ajax 1. How to deal with pressure moments, how to deal with setbacks. I mean, a player like Taylor, for instance, okay, he was sitting on the bench with Ten Hag, and then he becomes a starter because we sell all our players. That's something that cannot happen because it doesn't help these players whatsoever. But anyway, I'm the host, so Luke, I just want to take over.
Sorry.
So I actually liked the interview. So it's quite exciting to hear them talk about what they plan with the youth, with the cognitive side. So I actually agree with you, Papi, because the thing that drew me to Ajax initially was obviously, I know my story's funny and we've already said the story before, but was actually the youth players that come through. Your Frenkie de Jong, I know he was bought as a young player, didn't come through the youth system essentially, but the young players that play, develop, and then move on. And I'm big on, I love a central midfielder. I can go on about Xavi for days. You guys know this, right? But players that are smart, right? And I feel like that we lack smart players currently in the first team. And also, I think we lack certain players that have a certain professionalism about them. So you look at someone like Hillinson, okay? He very professional this season, his first full season. And he works hard for the team. Doesn't get many goals, many assists, but he's the one who creates space for other people to go into. We had conversations with Berghuis and Hillinson. They'll swap roles. He'll make space for Berghuis to go inside with the ball, etc. And he plays very unselfishly. And I don't think a lot of players play like that and are smart enough to create space. So I feel like if they're going to go through this whole youth system and give it a revamp where the players will, like Damien said, it will take a few years because they'll have to start from the really young ages and let it build up and feed through naturally. Because unfortunately, when you get to 14, 15, 16 years old, you've already made habits. And that's what it's all about. It's about having a habit. And if you're not thinking and playing with your brain at this stage and you're 15, 16, looking to get into men's football soon, it won't really happen. It's very rare that happens for you. So if you get the under 7, under 8s and we're teaching them about playing and thinking about space before the ball, and thinking about what to do next, the next steps in the game, then eventually it will feed through, and then for the long-term future, it will be better for us. So it is exciting to listen to that, and it's hard not to be excited, thinking that Ajax will have their youth back to an extent, right? Because let's be real, we've not really had much of identity for the last few years, have we? Not been many players coming through. It's not really been players that we can breathe through and get excited about. I know you just said about Taylor got forced into the first team because Gravenberch went and everyone else was sold. So he kind of had to play. But like you said, we don't want that to happen. So if we can get it right, maybe in 3, 4, 5 years, some next batch of players be ready to earn their place and deserve a place. And we can be a smart and technical team again. Because right now, I don't think we are.
Yeah, you're right, Luke. I just want to add some other points that might be of use to this conversation as well. I like that he said that we need a more dictatorial kind of a coach, not a coach that is easygoing, not the John van het Schip type, but more of a Louis van Gaal type, Erik ten Hag type. I found that to be very clever, and I'm happy that they have a profile for the kind of coaches they want. And also what I found interesting was the way he described the first team. 16 players, 95% in a championship team of all the games. Of the 24 in total, so you're talking about 16 players, key players, rotational players, and first team players. And then you have a section of 8 players that are high potentials. Yeah, I see the reaction.
My. What's that? What's 8 players high potential? Come on.
Well, if you want more youth to come through to the Ajax one, you have to start
dealing
in this way.
He named some. He made a division of how many what he sees as a balance, but it has nothing to do with a vision, in my opinion. It has nothing to do with the gameplay you're going to play. It's nothing to do with the technical aspect of the development of the players, which is always key. And yes, it's important to have the cognitive side upgraded, but they do need the technical ability as well. Which is lacking currently.
I read that as in, when I interpreted when I read it in Dutch and I read it back, I read that like as if the point that actually Papi made this last time. If you look at players like Taylor, who I'm not a fan of, but Wrench and Harto and players like that, it's actually not surprising that they haven't developed, because there's not really a situation. It's a very negative situation You know, young players will come in and they will dip up and down. They need to come in and out of the squad. On, you know, maybe 5% will come in and just own it, like Frankie de Jong and De Ligt. But some players in and out. And I think what he was trying to say there was he wants to have a good line, a good squad of players who can play every game. And the other 9 players are players who can develop and fit in and out the squad and flourish in an environment where there's not going to be too much pressure. If you look at the madness this season, you know, fireworks on the field, riots. I think we didn't finish a game for like 3 or 4 weeks. We had to go back and play and, you know, whatever. It's been absolutely crazy. These young players must think, what the hell is going on? I mean, they'll grow from it because next season will be like a walk in the park if it's better organized and it's all, you know, all lined up as they say. But that's what I got from it.
But the problem I have with the whole interview is he says some things and he gives some guidance on what they want, and then they're talking with Graham Potter. Graham Potter is mostly having various formations, having flexible formations and fluid all across the pitch, which is not trained in the youth. So what are you doing? Why are you bringing or talking with a trainer like that if everything in the youth is predicated to do something else? I just don't see the vision in that. And then you can say, yeah, I want 8 high potential. Yeah, I don't care. I just want some clear guidance and some clear vision.
But Jadrenko, don't you think that a player coming from the youth of Ajax should be able to play multiple systems if the coach is training that?
No, you know, I don't believe in that. I believe in football is hard enough to get really, 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 really well in. Especially tactically, it's really hard to train one selection in one season, getting one gameplay really, really good. Imagine having 3 gameplays and also have fluency within those gameplays.
But we have seen with Ten Hag, for instance, that it might be 4-3-3 in paper, but attacking or defensively, we might be in a completely different structure. So, but does that really matter?
Besides 18, 19, and besides the many 1-0s or 2-1s they had, how good was the gameplay under Ten Hag? Be honest. It wasn't really Ajax gameplay. It wasn't really enforced gameplay. We were complaining about the last 2 or 3 seasons about the gameplay under Ten Hag.
Yeah, let me come in there, Jadrenko, because this is a point I've been making to Papi for years. He came in and we had Huntelaar, right? Huntelaar could score goals with his eyes closed, running around the field in a different direction. Then and it was his signing, but then he brought in the guy, the tall guy, the
Haller.
And again, you know, we really played a game where we were putting in a lot of crosses. Haller scored a lot of goals with his head. You know, we under Ten Hag, we played really well, but actually when it was really difficult and teams sat back, Haller got in the middle and scored a lot of goals and broke them down. And people forget, everybody thinks, Ajax is all tippy-tappy. But for 3 or 4 seasons, we had players who were really strong in the air and scored a lot of goals. And we didn't play the Ajax system. So I completely agree with you. And I wonder, like, how successful we can be with it. Look at the teams who put 5, 10, 15 behind the ball, it feels like. We couldn't break down even the weakest teams this season. You know,
but look at what Papimento said. Ajax has always been a team in a competition that needs to do something else as Real Madrid, as Liverpool, because we don't have that money. We don't have those players with that experience, so you have to do something different. That's the gameplay. That's what they train at the academy, and that's why Ajax has always been successful, because they outbalance the opponent at times. So how are you going to do that until they're 18, and then when they come in the first team, we do totally something different? then abolish the youth academy and do something else.
Wow, that's harsh. Okay, let me just go through the comments because everybody watching might think that we forgot about them, but we didn't. So just a sec. Jamie reacts to Yadorenko. All noises to the same direction, Yadorenko. That's key. Let me see, Tonio. Good evening. Good evening, Tonio. LFC Aaron also here. Good to have you. Let me see, Jamie, Christian. They're just responding to certain subjects we discussed. BRN is saying something interesting. He's saying Veldman worked already with Potter in a positive way, I believe. Let me see. And he also adds tactical badging, winning mentality, which is what you develop from playing football in the streets. Yeah. Let me see. Cruise control. Social scientist Potter. Cruise control is saying social scientist Potter. Visit to art museums, staging plays, motivational stuff, adapting to opponents. 43. You can also go crazy as Ziyech.
Yeah, I think Chelsea was the wrong move for him. But, Brighton is a bit like Ajax in the sense that it's nothing like Ajax, but you aren't dealing with, you're not signing huge players for huge money. You're selling on, you're moving on, you're bringing people in. It's similar in the sense, and it's, everybody in the club has this noses in the same direction. Read the one about Yadorenko. Read the other one down there. It's the best one. Have you seen it?
Let me. No, I don't see it yet, but let me go for the LFC Aaron one first. Question: what was the key to the successful Ajax academy over the decades, and why isn't that the case now? Who wants to take this one? Yadorenko, you're very critical about the youth, so.
But over the decades, it's the strength always has been one. They have a different development because they do it over and over and over. They do focus on technical abilities and technical gameplay and fast gameplay. And if you do that over and over, you become better at it. And then if you do it in the first team, it's something different because most teams in the Netherlands play 4-3-3 in the amateurs, but in different countries they all play 4-4-2. Basically, so it's really something differentiating, especially when you press. So that always has been the strength combined with the Amsterdam street mentality on the pitch. Like, we can do it. Doesn't matter that we play the biggest stars in the world. They'll ask our shirt. That mentality always made a big difference. But if we look at the last few years, the scouting has been sidetracked. The youth academy has been somewhat sidetracked and neglected. Yeah. Then you get this. Then players go away, are not breaking through, because if you don't develop between your 16 and your 19, 20, you're not going to break through anymore. Maybe in exception, high exception, but normally you don't break through. Look at Naci Univar, is a great player, great technical ability, but in that period when he was 16 until 19 or 20, he didn't really play on a high enough level. And there are more players that follow this example, in my opinion.
Ziggy, agree with that?
Well, I think in general that right now where we are, in these times of, we are not like back in the days anymore. Football requires a lot more than just technical ability.
Look at Messi. Does it? Look at Messi.
Yes, but Messi had way more than just technical ability, though. He already became a great player when he was 16. How old was he? He was 16, 17 when he...
But what I'm saying, he's the most technical player we've ever seen.
Yes, but you cannot just have 11 technical players, Jaderenko. Your squad,
No, but I'm
you have
not
defenders, you have
saying that.
midfielders, you have strikers. Right now, if you look at Hato, for example, let's look at a Hato. Let's look at a Wrench. I think Demo mentioned it earlier. Where those players, if those players were in 2018 to 19 squad, were those players key players? You guys think, or were they potentials?
I'm just
Hato,
the host, but I think Hato would get enough minutes, but he wouldn't be a starter. No.
No.
So he will be a potential, right? He will be a potential
exactly.
behind the Ligt and behind who was next to him, Blind, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah.
So right now, those are not key players. I mean, it takes a lot more than just being technical strong. So I have my different opinions about it. I think we need a lot more than just technical ability next season. We really need also some key players in terms of experience. So I'm talking about
But
players.
am I the only one that's concerned also about the overall level of the Dutch players and football and the quality that's coming through? Like, I'm not seeing a lot of Robbe, Van Persie level players coming through anymore. Huh?
Good point.
Yeah. It's. I was having this conversation with somebody about this, and we started with a conversation about the guy at Spurs, Van der Ven.
Mm-hmm.
He's come from. I mean, he can come from nowhere, but no one thought he was that level. Looks really good, makes a lot of mistakes, hasn't actually played that much football when you really look at it. But I agree with you in terms of. But then again, he's like Wrench. He's a great player, but he's not really a defender. Like I'll go on again. Wrench is not a great defender. He's constantly up and down the line. He can't tackle. It's really, really difficult. And maybe he goes to a team where he's going to be more of an attacking or part of a five or part of a back three. But I think the problem is football's changed, and if you look at it, I think one of the big problems is if you're going to sign, if the Netherlands are going to sign players from South America, which we all want, right? We all want Alvarez and Suarez and all these players. Then you're not going. These other players are not going to come through because the ideal thing about the Dutch league is the players get to play Champions League games and 100 games before they go on and play in another league. That's why it's fantastic. I read an interview with Martin Odegaard's father about why he really wanted him to sign for Ajax. It was something that he was set on. The agent didn't want it to happen, and it never happened. But it was so close in the deal. But the main reason was he knew that he would play 100 games before he went on to Real Madrid, and he would be much better. Hasn't hurt him, but I think that's having an effect on the squad.
Yeah, but I also think in terms of fitness. I mean, how many players in Ajax right now can run for 90 minutes straight?
Yeah,
that's already a basic right now.
But Siggy, that's ridiculous for a professional football club.
Of course, but yes, of course, it's ridiculous.
How can you have players that cannot run for 90 minutes in the Eredivisie? That's stupid.
But then we are just talking about technical ability. I mean, if you look at the fitness levels, that's where it starts too. It's just basics as well.
Yeah.
We discussed this earlier in the season, and I think I was on, and I made a point. I didn't think the Ajax squad looked fit. I'm not exactly fit myself, but I just think they were huffing and puffing.
But you don't have to be fit.
Sorry?
You don't have to be fit. You're not on the pitch.
I think they got fitter under Van Schip. I think they got fitter under him. But they were and Brobby, gives it all. But I genuinely don't think there's one player on that pitch who's in. I think it's really important some of them to get fit and come back.
I think even against Excelsior, we were catching our breath after 60 minutes. So
yeah,
and it's not.
What do you think?
Sorry,
Luke.
Go ahead, Luke. If you want to add.
Quiet.
Listen, I'm listening. I'm just listening to opinions. For me, football has changed. It's developed, changed so much. You see Pep Guardiola taking Cruyff principles and evolving them so much to the point, and then Arteta learns from him and changing it himself. So, a lot of the Premier League football, and I don't watch every single Eredivisie game or every European match, but a lot of it's transitional game now. people want to drop back and defend in low blocks or mid blocks, so you have to catch them on the transition. So like Ziggy said, it becomes a lot more about stamina, a lot more about speed, strength, and taking your chances. You have to be so much more clinical with your finishing now to score goals at the highest level. And I feel like, I think as fans, we have to step away from we want only the Ajax way and only technical way, and we have to accept that we can still develop young players and still play attacking football and attractive football, but it also can be a transitional type of game where we play a game, okay, and we're dominating the ball, and we might score our goals on the counter attack just because the opportunity was there, because of the way teams defend nowadays. And I think someone like Potter coming in who can adapt to certain situations, and I'm not saying he needs to change his formation every single week, I don't want to see that, but if he's going to adapt the game to an extent where, okay, we're playing possession for 60 minutes, we can't score a goal, so then we try a different way to try and win the game, because ultimately you want to win the championship, you need points, don't you? And that's the way football's gone for me. So, I think we will just need to accept that we're going to try and create smart players. I always still want to see technical players, but we have to accept that, you need a lot more. And I don't think there's a small select amount of coaches that actually think the way that Cruyff and Guardiola do, and we're not in the running for any of them. So we're going to have to accept that we're going to get someone like Potter, who I think could be good, and hopefully does the best for us.
I think a really interesting point. Having a discussion with someone this week. Look at Twente. They've had a fantastic season. Are they good? No. Are they fit? Jesus Christ, they are fit. I've watched them this year. I've watched a lot of Eredivisie this season, and I can tell you, Twente are not a good side, but they're just absolutely working really hard. They can't believe where they are. They're fired up. They're above Ajax, got the bragging rights, and they're going with the momentum. And we could have been a couple of places higher this season if we were fit. Yep. Salah Adin.
He made the mistake against Ajax, right?
Yeah, he did, yeah. But he looks really, really good. And it's a prime example of somebody who's playing a level above we are this season. Is he their player, or did we loan him?
Oh, I think we sold him, no?
We sold him.
I think we sold him.
Yes.
I think Nasi Univar is on.
Yeah, he's on loan, yes. Nasi Univar is on loan, I think so, yes.
I'm just going to continue with the comments. Kupta, 22. I think the level is too high from young Ajax to Ajax 1. I think we discussed this before, but...
you want to say something? Yeah, agree with... Jaiderenko said it, I think, before, but I actually only think that players should go through from young Ajax to Ajax if they're actually good enough. If they're not good enough, there's simply no place for you. If you want to challenge, it's just... That's also what Marijn Beuker said in his interview. We're talking about high potential players, players who we think are good enough to join Ajax 1. I think if you're just not good enough, like Ten Hag used to do, if you're not good enough, you're just not fitting into the squad. We should always look at, okay, we can let some players have a few minutes here and there against RKC away and Volendam away and whatsoever. But if you want to play at the highest level, what Ajax wants to reach, then you have to be good enough. Simple as that.
But it's strange, Siggy, that you say playing good enough. The first team players aren't playing good enough at all.
Right now, not indeed. But
the
before
only way,
was.
But the only way you can test those talents, and if they're really good enough, is by testing them.
Okay,
letting them play in young Ajax game after game after game after game after game.
But let's say if they're at young Ajax and they really destroy the league, you can tell which player is really destroying a league. Let's say a striker, for example. Let's say a Rijkov. He plays 35 games in young Ajax and he scores 40 goals. That means he's destroying the league, right?
But look at Mishui. Mishui was at times he was doing really, really, really well at young Ajax.
I don't think his stats are not great. His stats are not that great this season either.
I'm not looking at stats alone. I'm looking at what I see on the pitch, and especially if you look at how terrible the first team is playing. Why on earth would you play a player of 35 million game after game after game after game after game. Why you have talent on the bench, Gods,
I mean, he's getting
on the
game
left
time right now.
etc., etc. So it's all about trial and error, in my opinion. But I don't see the
So-
trial and error.
Yadirenko, I just want to be clear on this. So you would have played Missouri in Ajax 1, even though he didn't sign a renewal. And he was, I think, also injured in the first part of the season. So
No,
you
I,
would have
I, I
used
would
them
have,
in-
I would have tested Missouri a season earlier even. And then you can see, okay, how does he cope? He's a young player. How does he cope? Where does he need to grow? Okay, let's help him grow, or say goodbye to him.
Yeah, but the season before we had players such like Kudus, and we had players like
Oh,
who else did the season
so
before?
you don't have to. You don't have to play Missouri in the base. You can just bring on the
give him
pitch
minutes.
when you're 2-0 ahead or 3-0 ahead.
Yeah, but that's what I said as well. You can let him have some away games against RKC and Volendam, but I'm just
Exactly.
saying if you want to reach a certain level, so if you want to, I mean, we are Ajax, like everybody here is because we love Ajax. If you want to reach a certain level, reach Champions League, whatever you want to reach, quarterfinal, whatever, those kind of players, if they want to play, they need to be good enough, and they need to show it in the small games too. Not
Look,
But
I
it
just
doesn't
want to.
matter.
I just want to interject,
It
Yadirenko.
doesn't matter if it's a small game or a big game. It matters on what level they play, and with what kind of players. Look at young Ajax. Young Ajax is not really great at the moment.
Yeah, but why
So
is
how
that?
do
Because
you
the players are not that
expect
great.
how do you expect a young player to outperform the whole competition when the rest of the team is not playing really, really, really well?
I mean, we are Ajax, Renko. At the end of the day, even as a young Ajax being, let's talk about 3 years ago, young Ajax. Where did they stand if you compare it with now? Have a comparison. Now we are what, 15, 16? Where are we now? Right now on the table. And 3 years ago, we were like mid-table. We were top 5. We even became champions of the second
But
division
guys,
at some point.
Just to get clarification, back then we had a starter 11 that was playing constantly. Ten Hag didn't change a lot, didn't sub a lot. Even in games that were 3-0 ahead, we
Yeah.
were winning 4-0, 5-0.
Yeah.
These youngsters were still not getting the minutes. So I
Exactly.
think that's the point of Yadirenko, what he's saying, that in
Mhm.
times like these, you need to give your youth time and give rest to the starters and give them a chance to test themselves. I think that's Yadirenko's point.
Of course, but we
Which-
do. We
Which
do.
Ajax has always done.
Yeah. Let's continue with the comments, guys, because actually it's already 45 minutes in. And we
This is
do
my
have some
favorite
other
comment.
subjects.
This is my favorite. I've been waiting for this. Come on.
You wanted
I want to
to
hear it.
nickname. I just tuned in. Has Yadirenko already given a passionate rant about signing Wim Jonk as a head coach?
No. I
You're not
haven't.
going to do it? No?
No, it's Graham Potter. I hear from Luke. It's the trainer to be. So let's see.
But I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff going around, a lot of AI generated crap. Where are we with the head coach? I know from the interview, but are they leaning towards Potter? Because
It's very close. As I'm hearing
not.
the rumors.
What I heard is
it's
that
close.
there are conversations, but I don't know if it's true.
if you look at Potter, right, he would have to be Harry Potter to turn us around next season. You'd need all the magic of Hogwarts and all the skill of Quidditch. But the thing about him is he did that whole Scandinavian thing that all these sort of clubs like Ajax get a big hard on about. These guys who play Scandinavian football and wear Hummel, and then write philosophies in football. Then he went to Brighton and kind of did it. So I think he's suited more to a club where he knows he's got to sell on, he knows he's got to develop, he's got to work with youth. I don't think Graham Potter's ever going to be a Man United or a Chelsea manager. I don't think anybody would really do a great job with Chelsea. I think they've got a great manager now and he's struggling. So Potter wouldn't be a bad shout, but it would mean business. I would like Ten Hag back.
Nah. I
don't think
wouldn't.
Ten Hag will even come back, man. I think he would go
I wouldn't.
Bundesliga or something like that.
I mean,
if,
and let's be
he
honest.
gets
In
fired.
the last season when he was a coach at Ajax, everybody was moaning about his style of play as well, about Erik ten Hag. Right at the end, everybody was like, "Oh, get him out, this and all that." So
But I didn't know what I had then. I didn't know what I had. I couldn't wait for him to go. I was happy for him to move on.
Isn't
But
it always like that? You don't know what you have until it's gone.
I made a mistake. Eric, come back. You know?
Don't get me started on Ten Hag, please. Don't.
That's why I said it. That's why I said it.
This is a question I think for you because I know you're familiar with the Premier League, with Brighton, with Graham Potter. Was Potter responsible for the development of Trossard? I wonder what he could do with Gods. Do you know anything about
I mean, he's Potter has developed some very, very, very good players who've gone on to do great. I mean, a lot of them were signed by Chelsea. But that Chelsea squad is young, and I think they're actually not bad. They're probably one or two experienced players away from really challenging. But he really developed some big players. Trossard, the Chalobah.
Didn't he have Madison as well? Back
Leicester.
then?
He was Leicester.
Oh, that was Leicester. Okay.
Yeah. But there's a number of players that he developed, and no reason why he couldn't do it. He gets on well with Henderson. So he'll be our captain this season. I think he'll be a big part of it next season.
Yeah, to be honest, I'd rather see Voss on that position, but okay, that's me.
Dave Voss, you mean?
Yeah, Dave Voss. Yeah, I hear very good things about him, but you wouldn't mind that he's inexperienced, Sidorenko?
No.
Okay.
And
I mean-
and what's the lack of experience? He's been at Ajax for how long?
No, but I mean, look at the coaches we've had over the years. Schreuder, Stijn, Heitinga. All
Yeah.
inexperienced.
Yeah,
All
I mean,
inexperienced for the top. Didn't
Sure.
have any Champions League experience.
Yeah,
And
sure.
still you would consider giving someone with that lack of
I-
experience.
Would you
as-
put so much pressure on him?
As said earlier, I'm not keen on getting a big trainer in. I'm more keen on getting the structure in and getting rest in the club. And with Dave Voss, I think the expectations are zero,
That's why Pascal
The
Janssen.
and that's
The
a good thing. I
expectations
think.
are always there with Ajax. I don't
Sure,
think-
but the expectation with Graham Potter are, oh, maybe we can get champions again. Maybe we'll get Champions League again, and maybe we do. You don't know. You never know.
I'm just going to continue with the comments. Cruise Control is saying, if we want Ajax to be Ajax again, then Wim Jonk might be a very good choice indeed. Cruyff would have agreed. We must stick to ourselves and do what has made us great in the first place. And then Jamie Brinkhuis is saying, Jonk has had youth. I agree with you. So there's a lot of people that agree with you that Jonk should be at Ajax, at least.
At least I don't know about Jonk because he did have some amok, as we call in Dutch, within Ajax and within Volendam. So I don't know if he's the ideal man. I don't know if he's the ideal head coach or whatever. But at least he has the vision that Cruyff had a bit.
The problem with Jonk is he's not one of them. And back to what I said earlier on, they are all AZ Alkmaar Ajax people. They're all Ajax people who were parked at AZ because they wanted a job in football and couldn't get in because they weren't part of the previous lot. Now they don't want infections of the previous lot coming in. So you won't see any cross-contamination of what went on before to what is now, in my opinion. And that's why they'll go for someone like Potter. That's why they'll go for someone like Pascal Janssen.
But that's unprofessional, in my opinion. You shouldn't go for what you think suits best to you. It should always be about what is best for Ajax, in my opinion.
But if you look at the Cruyff revolution, he brought in his people, and the groundwork was laid for what came with Ten Hag, and we should allow them to do that now. well, and I think it probably will be more like Potter, but they want somebody who's aligned with their philosophy.
But the groundwork was laid with Frank de Boer, with
Of course, but Frank de Boer laid the groundwork for Ten Hag. I truly believe that watching Frank de Boer for 5 years and Christian Poulsen and all these people, it built up to where we were, and I think that was over, and this is the rebuild, in my opinion.
But to come back to what you said, Jadirenko, best for Ajax. I mean, best for Ajax would have been signing Bos back then, but Van der Sar didn't like him. So
yeah,
and that's the strange thing, that your personal opinion or your personal vendetta goes above what is best for the club.
Yeah.
Another name that's been mentioned is Van Bommel.
Ah, come on!
Oh no, never.
That must be a pundit.
Nickname is agreeing with Ziggy. Misui was not destroying the KKD. Neither is Vos. These kids just see how Graafberg went into the starting 11 at 16 and won the same. It's ego versus patience. Instant gratification generation, I would say. Okay, these were the comments. Let me continue with the next subject. Yeah, let's do Van het Schip because we're already busy on the whole Ajax rebuild. Van het Schip, after the season, he was promised a different position within Ajax, a different role. And head of coaching is not something he wants anymore. So I was very surprised with this news because that was the plan from day one. And Luc, when you saw that message that he doesn't want to be head of scouting, what did you think? And
Head of coaching.
do you expect a different role for him within Ajax?
I think he deserves some kind of role at Ajax for coming in, helping us.
Why,
Purely
Luke?
for sentimental value. It doesn't have to be a coaching role. He could be some ambassador for the club. He could do something, right? Keep him connected to the club, because I feel like he come in at a time when we needed him, and I feel like he deserves something within the club. But head of coaching is definitely not it, and I'm happy that he's not doing it.
Ambassador for playing 5-3-2.
Ambassador for being an Ajax player, an Ajax man, and coming in when we were 18th, Jadirenko, and needed help, and he come in and is taking all the slander. And you can dislike his football. I dislike the football. But when we needed somebody, he was there. And he didn't have to be. He had personal issues.
I
with his
said
life.
already.
You can have at least respect for that, Jadirenko. I mean,
But
look
I
at Van
said
der Vaart,
already,
look at
I've got
Schneider.
I've got the biggest love for him for that he did that. Absolutely, no discussion about that. But I really, 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 really don't like that he persisted in the 5-3-2 while it wasn't performing. It wasn't nice to watch. It was even worse as Stein at times.
I completely understand and I completely agree. My point is that he deserves something.
So make
with the
him
club somewhere.
an honorable member, and then that's it. Why should he have a role?
Yeah, no, fine. That's a role though, isn't it? I didn't say any
No,
role coaching wise.
That's just a
I
pin.
didn't say any role coaching wise. He just deserves to be involved with the club somehow. Yeah,
What about
somehow connected
RVC?
to the club.
What about RVC? Something like that.
Yeah, supervisory board, something like that. Yeah, you can have opinion to an extent, but because he is a nice person and everyone seems to like him to an extent, within reason, is a nice guy. But head of coaching, definitely not it. You need someone who actually knows how to coach for one to be in that role.
Why not give him the role of Van der Sar? Marketing, club face. People like him. He's easy to talk to. He's a nice guy. And I think that's the problem with Ajax. He's the only person. Nobody else is, he's the only person the fans don't want to smash his face in. That's the first thing. He could be, he's the only one at Ajax where you go, well, none of it's really his fault. He's not the solution, but he's not the problem. I think we agree on that, Jadirenko. I would say give him that role.
What
only thing is-
Van der Sar was a director, wasn't he?
Yeah,
CEO.
he was
Yeah,
the
he was
CEO.
general director.
Comms, wasn't he? He was did marketing.
He was comms at first, but
That's what I mean. That role.
later on he got trained by Kinsberger to adopt the general director role.
But if
You can
he
even
took
put
the comms role to begin with, I think that would be a great role.
you can even put Van
Okay.
Schip as like head of like the charity side. You know, the nice Ajax kids things. You can have him involved to anything,
He's working the
because I
shop.
feel like
Paperclip.
honestly, no, but it's a serious suggestion. You can have him do anything, something he would like to do, something that doesn't add to the pressure, not fully involved with the first team, you know. Or maybe he wants to go and I don't know, just do anything, just not head of coaching, please, because I feel like the way he's coached, like I agree with Yadorenko, horrible towards the end of the season, and you know, it was good up to a point because of what we saw prior, and then when you get rid of that, you then see the bad side of this. Of this season, you need someone who knows what they're doing and knows what it takes to be a coach and how to coach players and things like that to be head of coaching. Yeah, so yeah, just having connected somehow in the club because he deserves to, but not head of coaching for me.
Any other opinions than what Luke is saying? Go ahead. Ziggy is there.
No,
Yadorenko,
I agree.
yeah. Just because at the worst moment in his life, he stepped in, he helped, he deserves something.
Whatever role you give him, head of cleaning, head of whatever, but not of coaching. Yes. No, but yeah, no, I mean it's a fair guy. I mean he's got love for Ajax. I would put him in a supervisory board. I mean it's better than what we had now. One thing he does, he loves Ajax and he wants the best for Ajax. That's one thing for sure. But definitely not in a coaching role. No.
I think he will not be at Ajax next season. I think he's still hungry to have a coaching role somewhere.
That's what I think
That's
too.
what I see. Yadorenko, you would say no role for Van Schip and clean slate?
Yeah, make him honorable member and just invite him in every year or twice a year for big games, whatever, and add him to Lucky Ajax and whatever you want. But why would you give the man also the space to do what he wants? If he doesn't want to be head coach and if he does want to coach another team, give him that space and make him an honorable member and keep it at that.
I do always had the feeling about Van Schip that he was really hoping for that coach role next season, trainer role next season. He was always kind of flirting with it, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
but he's also being blamed for a team that's not his, right? And we're also blaming him for the 5-3-2. But to be honest, when he started that, we had two wingers that were injured. We didn't have backups.
But Papimento, the problem I have with the 5-3-2 is one, it's not Ajax, and two, biggest thing is that he persisted when it wasn't working, at all. And as a coach, you should also take your losses when you see it's not working what you're doing.
And he would also then try to justify it in his interviews and say, "Oh, well, I saw good things." So he does have his flaws, obviously.
I think
I also every game I saw a good thing, and that was the Ajax shirt. But
I feel for him it kind of worked against PSV.
Yeah, that was his first game. No, was an interim.
No, that was Maduro.
No, after the winter break.
The home game.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he sort of said, and I think he looked at the PSV game and went, because I was surprised. We weren't shit at that game. We were actually all right. And, Henderson played well. Clinton played well. Everybody seemed to pull together. Well, moved. And I think he looked at it and went, I've cracked it here. And then he tried to do it on a cold Wednesday night in Stoke, and it's just been revolting. I've never wanted to punch myself in the head more than watching Ajax this season. It's been horrible. But I don't think he's the reason for it. I just think he's just had shit ingredients and he's trying to make a decent meal out of it.
And the strange thing is, if you look at the statistics and you look at when he played 4-3-3, his stats were fine. The stats were fine. He was winning enough points to be out of the clear, and then he changed it, and the stats went down like crazy. It's just horrible in my.
Our problem this season has been our defense. I mean, everything else has been
No,
pretty.
it's the midfield. It's the midfield, in my opinion.
It's pulled the midfield out the joint, but I think our defense is horrible, like horrible. And that would
Okay,
be
well, that's a nice bridge. Let me take that, Damien, because we're going to discuss a potential signing. We've been linked as Ajax with Philippe Sandler as an option in the center defense. I'm guessing if we sell Sutalo or something, he would be the follow-up.
I just want to say, if anybody wants Sutalo, I will drive him for free. I will actually pay the fuel, and I'll drive him anywhere in Europe. No problem.
As long as we get our money back.
I don't care, even if we don't.
But well, okay, Philippe Sandler, you're talking about selling Sutalo. Damien, take it. I mean, do you see him as a better player?
I don't know much about him.
No?
I don't know much about
Ziggy,
him.
do you watch Sandler a lot? Because I saw you nodding a little bit, like you're not very convinced.
I'm not a fan of Sandler, if I'm honest. Really, he just had one decent season at NEC. I think it's a one season wonder. Really, I will not replace him for. I mean, Sutalo, if I'm honest. I would rather have, for example, Veldman, if you ask me. If I had to choose between those two, no, I will not go for Sandler at all. Even if Sutalo goes, I will look for another option. For me, it's a big no.
So he will not help us in the back line.
No.
Luke? Sorry.
I've seen bits. Yeah, no, it's okay. I haven't seen many games. I've watched. I've done my little highlights thing as everyone else does on YouTube. He just like another Sutalo, maybe even worse. He likes a long pass too much, and we always complain about our long passes, but he always wants to play a long pass.
Yeah.
And he always wants to do something with the ball as opposed to just sometimes playing simple and moving it. For me, that's like he always wants to run with it or play a long pass or And it's just like if you have Sutalo, there's just no point getting another one that's just like Sutalo. Do you understand? You want to get rid of one, you don't want to get another one. You know, so.
I mean, what I've seen of him, he's faster. He's a bit more mobile, and I think he's a bit of a brawler. I don't know enough about him. I've seen. He didn't play in the game at Ajax in NEC at home this season. He didn't. I don't think he played.
I think he did.
Yeah,
I believe he did.
He just didn't play a really great game,
I think he did against Brobbey. He was the direct opponent of Brobbey, I think so.
Yeah.
because somebody's
What
put
they-
in the- somebody's
What
put
they
in the
say,
chat
Damien, about him is that he's fast. He's
To be
good
honest,
with his feet, but he's not very great defensively.
yeah.
to be honest, I wouldn't mind, and I can explain really easily because I think you have potential with Hato and Kaplan. If you sell Medic, if you sell Sutalo, Sandler could be a fine backup for 5 million, which is not a lot. So in that perspective, I wouldn't really mind. On the other hand, if I would get a backup, I would get someone like Vuskovic or something like that, a really big talent as a backup. But I don't think that's gonna happen. So I'm not too worried about that because in my opinion, the center next season will be Kaplan and Hato.
We need to get Ramos in for a season. Just
We need to get Messi in for a season.
Get Ramos in. Work with the boys.
I wish,
No.
David. I wish. I was watching Modric playing. And
Oh,
I was
Modric,
like, I
yeah,
hope
come
he
on.
can come a season to Ajax. Yeah, why not?
Kroos,
Some
come
fun
on.
comments on this as well. Jamie is saying Sandler won't help Ajax. He's saying Sandler is a wrench defender with a blind pass. We can use a blind
That's a good
pass,
pass.
to be honest.
That's
He means
good pass.
blind or blind?
I don't know.
It's capital. It's a capital.
I think he was blind.
Well, I mean, if he's going to be a squad player, because what's that Medic?
Yeah, what's wrong with him?
Jesus.
No, get him out too.
He's never
He's
going to
like-
play for Ajax again.
He's like Magellan Light. Get him out. I'll drive him anywhere as well. I've got a busy summer.
A nickname. Never has a transfer rumor made me lose my erection quicker than Sandler to Ajax. So
Okay.
Busquets, yeah.
And
Well,
Christian
that
has a
escalated
question for
quickly.
you guys, so I'm going to take it. Gentlemen, since there is a lack of experience in the defense, would you, for example, considering getting a player like Alderweireld or Vertonghen back, players with
Bit late.
ICNA and can act as a
But
mentor?
it's a bit late for those, isn't it? How old
I
are they?
think you have to think about Veldman, maybe, about
83?
people that have been at Ajax, but experienced.
Where's Blind?
Girona.
Blind is in Spain.
I would get, for example, let's say if Velman is a cheap option, why not?
Is the pizza there, Luke?
Nah.
I agree, Ziggy.
Someone knocked my door.
But I think I saw an interview from Veldman saying that he is very happy where he is.
Of course, he earns too much money right now.
So
And they
I don't
play
even
nice
think that's an
football.
option.
And he's not really. He's doing quite well in the games he's playing.
Yeah.
I was really surprised because I thought he always had a mistake in him. But in the Premier League, he hasn't because he just focuses on his job.
He would even be good as an inverted right back, to be honest, if you see what we got now.
I mean, that's the truth. I think Sandler is probably an improvement on what we have now. But that's not the question. The question is, who should we go for in the summer? And I think we've got to agree, stick with Kaplan, Harto, and have somebody experienced next to them. If we get rid of Medic and Satulo, then maybe we can have them as well. But I don't think he should be the main guy. That's Ramos, in my opinion. I'm going to drive there now, and I'm going to go to Ajax, and I'm going to poke it through the door. Ramos is coming.
Oh man, make it happen, Damien, please. Let me go to the final question, guys. We're almost there, but I just want to look ahead for Volendam because the 5th spot is important to keep this season. We still have 3 games left. Volendam away this Sunday, so very easy. Do you expect to win? And the score prediction? Jadrenko, you may start.
I'm afraid for Volendam.
Oh shit.
Wim Jong vibes.
If you cannot win from Excelsior, how are you gonna how on earth are you gonna win from Volendam away?
Well, Berghuis started training again, so we might have him back. Bergwijn is not playing; he has a red card, so that's
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Oh,
That Gods might be playing.
Okay, I think Ajax will win 7-0.
7-0. No. Realistic. Come on, give me that.
0-7. Sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna write it down. Jadrenko 0-7 for Ajax. Ziggy.
I think Ajax would win 2-1. 1-2, I think. So 1-2 for Ajax.
1-2. Oh, that's
Yes.
positive. I like it. Okay.
Mine isn't.
And 0-7.
those are not realistic.
First, you started with a draw, and then you went to 0-7. I'm not sure. Damien, how positive are you for Sunday, buddy?
I think we're going to keep a clean sheet, and I think we're going to score 4 goals.
What?
Yep. I think the tide is going to turn before the end of the season, and we're going to finish strong. Because everybody is playing to get in their international squads, and everyone's looking, and they're going to get past it all. They've had a little bit of a break. They've all been somewhere nice and sunny and warm. It's going to come back.
Henderson might also be back. I'm reading.
Oh, 5-0. Henderson is going to score this game.
See, Jamie's agreeing with you. 0-5. He's also there.
Oh, yeah. I see it, yeah.
And he's like, he's a fan of the Van der Bomen Hendo masterclass incoming. So let's hope. I like the positivity at least. Luke, are you going to keep the positivity or are you going to break it? Give it to me, man.
I'm gonna break it. I think it will be 2-2. I think that everyone just wants the season to end, and everyone's just gonna give up, and then they're just gonna. And that's it.
Yeah, but they still have to maintain that 5th position, Luke. Important.
They have to, yeah.
They have to, but doesn't mean they will. So I think 2-2.
Okay. Okay. That was a
And I
great
think it will be
episode, guys.
There'll be a penalty.
What about you, Papi? What do you think?
Oh, you want mine? I think
Yes,
Ajax will
of
win. 1-3.
1-3.
Hey, Papi,
Yeah,
can we end on something? Beginning of the season, remember earlier in the season, I predicted that Ajax would finish 3rd, and you were like, no way. I said 3rd or 4th, do you remember?
Yeah, you said that. I remember.
And you were like, Damien, no, you were like, I cannot believe you're saying this.
But
You
they're
were-
not going to finish third or fourth.
No, but that's
Okay.
what my prediction was beginning of the season, you know? So I'm not far off.
Hey guys, thank you for being here. It was a great podcast. Viewers, thank you for being here as well. Juan will be with you on Sunday for the game talk against Volendam. He has been very busy with work, so sorry that you haven't seen him. I know you guys prefer him, so I will tell him that there's a lot of love from the chat. And yeah, have a great evening. See you guys soon.
Yeah.